Hello viewers, welcome to K Diagnostics. Dio here. Today we have a 2013 Mercedes Sprinter with a 3.0 liter. The complaint on this Sprinter is the blower motor stays on all the time. Even when the ignition key is removed from the ignition, the blower motor stays on. It stays on until it kills the battery. So the driver has been disconnecting the battery to prevent the battery from being fully discharged. So that's a problem. He brought it to us so we can figure out why the blower motor stays on all the time. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside the vehicle and confirm the complaint. After confirming the complaint, we're gonna talk about what directions we're gonna go so we can figure out what's causing the blower motor to stay on all the time. So now let's go in the vehicle and confirm the complaint. So let's see what we got. I have the battery disconnected right now because when the battery is on, the blower motor runs constantly. As you can hear, it's quiet right now. I'm gonna reconnect the battery. So the battery is right over here in front of the driver's seat. So as you can see, it's disconnected. So I'm gonna reconnect it. I hope you can hear the blower motor. So the key's out, but the blower motor is on. There's air coming out of these vents. I hope it's loud enough to the point where the camera is picking it up. Okay. So the blower motor is running constantly, which is killing the battery. Okay, so driver's complaint confirmed. So I'm gonna disconnect the battery. Just listen as I'm disconnecting the battery down here. Right there, battery disconnected, blower stops working. If I reconnect the battery, the blower runs. All right, so let's disconnect this. Now, what's the issue, guys? What do you guys think? What's causing this? What's causing the blower to run all the time, even when the key is out of the ignition? So, usually when I see this problem, the issue ends up being a shorted blower motor or a shorted blower motor regulator or a short in the wiring between the regulator and the blower motor. So hopefully we're not dealing with the short in the wiring. Hopefully it's just a bad blower or a bad regulator. So we're gonna have to get to the regulator. The regulator and the blower motor is on the passenger side behind the glove box. So we're gonna go to the passenger side and remove the glove box so we can access the blower motor. So now let's do that. So we are here at the glove box. We're gonna remove it. So let's get this stuff out first. Okay, so there's a tab over here that we have to push so we can drop the glove box completely. And then we're gonna undo these 3 torque bolts to remove the glove box. Okay, just like that. Here comes the glove box. We're gonna put it out of the way. So now the next step is gonna be removing this side cover. This side cover has a little screw over here that we have to remove. So they're all the same size, all these little screws. Okay, all of them. So they're basically identical. And all these screws are T25 torque screws. Now we're gonna remove this one and this and that one. Alright, so now we're gonna remove the back support of the glove box. Actually, let's remove this cover first, right here. And now this is just gonna come down like this. So here is our blower motor. This is the blower motor regulator. Now our battery is disconnected, so I'm gonna reconnect the battery. So the battery is reconnected. Now listen, the blower motor is running. So where do we start with our diagnosis? Now we have to check the wiring at the blower motor and also the wiring at the regulator. I hope you can hear that. And right now the key is out of the ignition, okay, but the blower motor is running, so this is a problem. Now I'm gonna disconnect the blower itself. I'm gonna bypass the blower motor with this test light, okay. That's gonna get rid of this noise that we have in the background while we're doing our test. So I'm gonna disconnect the blower motor here. Okay, so that's disconnected. We got rid of the noise. Now I'm gonna connect my test light. Now, right now, since the blower is running, if I connect my test light across these two wires, my test light is gonna stay on. So picture this test light being on as the blower motor running all the time. Okay. So let me see if I can do this one-handed here. So as you can see, my test light is on. So we're gonna stick this test light up here. So right there, as you can see, our test light is on. So which means the blower motor is running constantly right now. So now I'm gonna disconnect the blower motor regulator. Let's disconnect the regulator and see if the test light is gonna go out. So right there, I disconnect the regulator, the blower motor stops running. So in this case, the test light goes out. So I'm gonna reconnect it. So I reconnect it, the blower motor continues to run. I disconnect it, the blower motor stops. So regulator connected, blower motor runs constantly. When we disconnect it, blower motor stops running. So our issue is most likely not the blower motor, it's most likely this regulator over here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reconnect it. So the regulator has 4 wires. This black wire is a ground wire and the brown wire is a power wire. This is a constant power, and the red wire is also a power wire, which is a constant power as well. And this small wire over here, this 10 wire, this is the control wire coming from the AC control unit. The AC control unit sends a voltage down this wire to control the regulator. And the regulator controls the current flow to the blower motor. So the blower motor receives constant power on this red wire, and the regulator controls the current flow on the ground side of the blower motor on this brown wire over here to vary the speed of the blower motor itself. Okay, so since our blower motor is running all the time, I don't think we have a power and ground issue, but I'm gonna check my powers and grounds at this regulator anyways, so let's do that now. I have these two clamps connected to the battery, so these are jumper cables, and the black alligator clamp over here is ground and the red one is power. So I'm gonna connect my test light to ground. If I touch power, my test light should light. Right there, my test light lights, so we have power there. So now let's check for power at this regulator. So we're gonna check the first wire. As you can see, my test light lights. Okay, so we have power over here. Okay, now let's test the second one. I mean, this brown wire, the power on this brown wire can dim your test light, and that's fine. Okay, so this is not a problem. As long as we have some type of voltage there, we're good. So now let's test the other one. So the other one should have enough current flow on it. So when we touch this second one, our test light is going to be pretty bright. So right there. So first one is good. Second one is also good. We got, you know, although it's dim, so there isn't enough current flow there, so we're good. Okay, so now we're going to check our ground wire. And I'm doing this with the key off anyways, so we're good. So don't worry about the test light being dim when we back probed the brown wire. So that's normal. So now let's test our ground. Test light is connected to power. When we touch ground, it lights. So we're gonna check our black wire. So right there, test light lights. So that's good. We have power and ground at the regulator. So now we're gonna test the control wire. Now, on a good working regulator, there shouldn't be voltage on this control wire. We should only have voltage on this control wire over here when we turn the key on and turn on the blower motor switch on the AC control unit. Okay, so basically when we turn the blower on. When the blower is off, just like this, we shouldn't have any voltage on this wire, because this wire is what controls this regulator, and any voltage on this wire is going to turn on the blower motor. Okay, so if we see any voltage on this wire, that's going to be an indication of a shorted blower motor regulator. So we're going to use a multimeter to test this control wire. So I'm going to bring up my multimeter right here. Now I'm going to connect the black test lead to ground, and then my red test lead is going to get connected to this wire. Now my multimeter is already on the voltage scale, so DC volt. That's good. Let's test our multimeter. If I touch this backing probe tool to power, we should read battery voltage on the multimeter screen. So watch that. So right there we have 12.56 volts, so that's good. So now I'm gonna back probe this small wire. So right now, so far, our blower is still running. Okay, so the test light is on, which means our blower motor is running constantly right now. So let's back probe this wire over here. Now let's look at our meter. So we have 1.81 volts. So this regulator is shorted. Now you might ask, how do I know it's shorted? I know that because we shouldn't have voltage on this wire with the key off. So when the key is off and the blower motor switch is at the 0 position, we shouldn't have voltage on this control wire of the regulator. If I disconnect this regulator, the voltage on the mirror is gonna disappear. It's gonna go down to 0. So let me disconnect this. right there. So I got this disconnected, my test light went out, and my multimeter went down to 0. Now if I reconnect this, my test light is gonna come on and my multimeter is gonna start reading a voltage. Watch. Let's reconnect this. So right there. Now we have 2, so it's even erratic. Now we have 1.83. Test light is on, so I'm gonna disconnect it. Voltage goes down. Let's reconnect it. Okay. So basically what's happening is that the regulator is sending voltage on this wire all the time, okay, which is triggering itself to send power to the blower to run it all the time, okay. So on a good regulator with the key off, we shouldn't have voltage on this control wire, okay. Voltage should only be on this control wire when we are turning the blower on with the switch. All right, so this over here is a symptom of a shorted blower regulator. So I'm gonna disconnect this. Okay, so our wiring is good. Our short is not in the wiring because our voltage goes down to 0 when we disconnect the regulator. Okay, and this also tells me that our AC control unit is good and our blower motor is good as well. So wiring is good, blower motor is good, AC control unit and switch is good. The problem is this guy. So I'm gonna remove it. So to remove this blower motor regulator, you have to twist it counterclockwise, just like that, and then pull it out. Oh man, look at it. You see that? So this is shorted. This is the problem, guys. This is what's causing the blower motor to run all the time. I am going to call the parts store and get a new blower motor regulator. Okay. Once I get a new regulator, I'll bring you guys back up so we can install it. Then I'm gonna show you the difference between this one and the new one, because on the new one, when we connect it, you will see that there won't be any voltage on the control wire with the new one connected. So this one over here is shorted. I'm gonna get the new part and then I'll bring you guys back up. A couple of hours later, the guys at the parts store brought us a new blower motor regulator. So here's the new one, and let me show you the old one. So this is the old one, okay, and this is the new one. So we're gonna install this. So you make sure it's lined up just like that, and then you turn it clockwise to lock it in place, just like that. Okay, now we're gonna reconnect the electrical connector. I still have my control wire back probed. Remember before, with the old regulator, so with this one in place, when we reconnected the electrical connector, we were reading about 1.8 volt on this control wire. So I didn't move anything, okay? My test light is still connected to the blower motor electrical connector. So I'm gonna reconnect this. The battery is still connected. Watch that. So I'm still back probing this control wire. Look at the multimeter. Can you tell the difference now? So with this one, we have 0 volt on the multimeter. The new regulator is connected and our blower motor is not running. So this is fixed, okay? I mean, just for the heck of it, let me disconnect this new one. Let me bring the old one here. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Watch the meter, okay? 0 volts. Now, when I connect the defective one, see that? Blower motor comes on and we have 1.8 volt on the mirror. Okay, so key is still off, key is not in the ignition. Watch this. So you connect this one here, blower motor comes on, and we have 1.8 volt on the control wire. Okay, we shouldn't have voltage on this control wire with the key off. All right, so now let's reconnect the new one. New one is connected. Okay, you see that? 0 volt, and our test light is off. Now, to get voltage on this wire, now what we need to do is we have to turn the key on. So we have to put the key in the ignition. See that? Key is on. And now we have to turn on the blower motor. You see the voltage. Look at the voltage on the multimeter increasing as I do this. So just watch the mirror. And I hope you can see the light of the blower motor there. So just watch the mirror as I'm doing this. So I'm decreasing the blower speed. See that? So we went down to almost 1.6 volt. So I'm going to turn it off, and we're going to go down to 0 volt. You see that? So now the blower is off. So if we turn it on again, you see my voltage increasing. If I go up to full speed, I believe full speed is 5 volt. Okay, and my blower is on because I see the test light is on right now. So let's turn it off. You see my test light went off. Okay, so this is fixed, guys. This is fixed. The problem was a defective blower regulator. So now I can remove my test light. Let's reconnect the blower itself. Now let's hear the blower run. All right, so let's try this once again. Hope you can hear the blower. And we got our voltage there. Okay, so now let's lower the speed. Now let's turn it off. So it's off. Okay, so you can do this test with a multimeter. If you have a multimeter and a test light, you can definitely diagnose this type of issue. This is a pretty simple and easy circuit. You shouldn't have power on the control wire when the blower switch is at 0. If you have any type of voltage on that control wire, your problem is a shorted regulator. Okay, so let's try this again. Right there, our voltage goes up. Our blower is running. I'm gonna decrease the speed. So our voltage on the control wire is also decreasing as we're decreasing the speed of the blower motor. Okay, so this is fixed, guys. This is fixed. The problem was a shorted blower motor regulator. Okay, so now let's reinstall the glove box, and after that we're gonna wrap up this video. So this is fixed. The battery is connected. The blower motor is no longer running constantly. Okay. So reinstalling this glove box is basically the reverse process of the removal process. All right, so everything is back together. Now we're just gonna push this in. Okay, so let's put this stuff back in here. All right, so that's good. This is fixed. Let's test our repair once again. So keys in ignition, keys on. Let's turn on the blower motor. Off. So that's good, guys. This is fixed. So now let's wrap up this video. As you can see, it's quiet, so now the battery won't be dying anymore. Alright guys, so that's it. I'm gonna leave this right over here. The issue on this van was a shorted blower motor regulator. The shorted blower motor regulator was causing the blower motor to run all the time, which was killing the battery. So I hope you liked the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, you gotta tell me why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Thanks for watching. See you next time.